You have to look for this one, y'all. You have to look for it. This game was flexed to Saturday, and the Vikings will go on the road to take on the Bengals. And we'll get into things like the injury reports, the standings currently in the NFL, and why this game is important for both of these squads. The winner is going to still be alive for the playoffs. The loser could be in big trouble, y'all. Both of these teams started out the year horribly and have been trying to recover since. Both teams are on their backup quarterbacks. Joe Burrow went down a few weeks ago, and Mr. Browning, Jake Browning, is taking over for the Bengals. Meanwhile, the Minnesota Vikings, after Kirk Cousins went down, we've been trying to find the guy to lead us to the show. Let's do some shout outs to those in the chat. Of the 10, SG Sports Talk is in here. Kathleen Schwartz is Go Bengals. Cameron something, hi Valhalla. What's up, Cameron? Louis Two Joints thought for a sec this is a Friday game. No, Burrow is out. Burrow is out for the rest of the year, Louis. But we'll get into all that. Basically, the format of this show every week, my goal anyway, is to take you around the various social medias and talk to you about this week's contest, and hopefully have some exchanges and some predictions at the end of this bad boy. Clayton says, I'm just here so that I don't miss getting free points. I'm rooting for Dobbs, says Louie. Dobbs is not the quarterback this week, and I'll get into that as well. Sheila in the house. Hello, Miss Sheila. Moderator extraordinaire. Moderator extraordinaire, Miss Sheila. So, as I mentioned, new format, new look to the SKOL report. The goal here is probably to do about an hour stream for the preview show, and maybe have some fun along the way. Maybe have some fun. But the goal, as I mentioned, is to do this about once a week for each game. Do a little preview 1 or 2 days prior to the action and see how it goes. This could end up being a standalone video later, but time will tell. I'm rooting for Dallas, as Clayton. Now, we got some big games this week. I'll look at some of that as well. But let's go to the stat page, y'all. Let's go to the stat and information page. I've currently got it up on X, aka Twitter, and we'll see what the Vikings are saying about this weekend before we get into the statistics of this week's matchup. But here we go. 20 minutes ago, the Minnesota Vikings elevated running back Myles Gaskin and wide receiver Tristan Jackson to the active roster. So we're still having trouble at depth with wide receiver. Alexander Madison out of this contest with an ankle injury, I believe. And so we've got Tyson Chandler, Kenny Nwangu, and now Myles Gaskin that will be active for Saturday's game. The Vikings doing a lot of stuff around the community today in anticipation of Christmas, or the last few days in anticipation of Christmas. So they're doing some stuff out there in the community, taking some kids out, getting them some toys and stuff. But how to watch the game, Minnesota versus Cincinnati, right there. It'll be a 12 o'clock p.m. Central Time start. That's 11 o'clock where I'm at. It'll be broadcast on CBS in the Twin Cities, K-Fan on the radio. I'm not sure what I'll get it on. I thought it was an NBC game, but I guess I'm wrong. Victor the Viking saying that Harrison Phillips is a pleasure to work with in the community around Minneapolis. Josh Metellus still flashing for the Vikings, one of their most important players on this retooled Brian Flores defense. And the Vikings just say it pretty clear right there, y'all. They say, bring on them Bengals. Bring it on. Bring it on. This was Kevin O'Connell talking yesterday about the Vikings quarterback position, right? quarterback positions. Let's bring this out and play it for you.
I just think it's, Jaren's fully healthy now and has really gotten back on the grass and really worked through his continued development, and wanted him to kind of go about the week this week, kind of simulating as if he was going to potentially, as if he was playing, just, using it as a real tool for his development and growth, and he's done a nice job, and just want to kind of go about it that way.
Josh Dobbs will be ready to play
Hall, like he has,
so Mullins will
to help us go 3-2 over
Hall
the last 5.
will,
I mean, he came into the game
with
way less work than he had this week
Dobbs will
against
be the third
Atlanta,
quarterback,
and led us to a victory. So tons of confidence in all three guys. I know our entire offensive group feels that way, and we feel fortunate, having lost Kirk, to have that kind of depth that we do in that room.
So that was Kevin O'Connell talking about
what
they were going to try to do at the quarterback position on Saturday. So again, this is a Saturday start, y'all. You are correct. You are correct. Here was O'Connell yesterday as well, talking to the media about this game. Get it moved up.
Injury updates as of now. We will rule out 3 players. Alex Madison, Jalen Naylor, and Brian O'Neill will all be
Madison, Naylor,
out
and
for
Brian
this
O'Neill.
week. They're all trending in the right direction.
Out this
hopefully,
week.
be able to get them some work next week in anticipation of maybe having them. We'll have Justin Jefferson and Chris Reed will be questionable. And then Ed Ingram and Dalton Reisner will not have a designation. Both got a full workload today. And we'll be ready to go. Good week of practice. Expecting a really big-time challenge. This team's playing really well. Zach's got those guys playing really well. Lou on defense, is one of the best in our league. Tough road environment, huge challenge for us. Got to go play well. I'm going to have to play well in all 3 phases to get this win. And then just wanted to highlight with you guys, I know you have hopefully already, but Ivan Pace is the NFC Defensive Player of the Week. What a performance last week. He's had a heck of a first season here with us, and really excited about Ivan.
I think KOC realizes how much they still need Kirk next year.
Your expectation?
Yes. He he did a really he did probably more than I originally expected, and responded really well to all the work. So we feel really good about where Justin's at.
So Justin, after going to the hospital after a hit last week.
Yeah, we're gonna go in with Jaren as the 2 and Josh as the emergency 3. They'll all be obviously suited up. We'll go through our normal process with those guys with this game plan, making sure whoever's in the game that they feel good about the things that I'm calling, and the way this season's going, we're have a process in place now to be prepared for just about everything. But looking forward to seeing Nick go out there. Had a really good week of practice. Felt kind of the comfort in the things that we're doing in our system, and I think hopefully we can get the other 10 guys in the huddle to be at their best and have a get day offensively.
Hoping the Vikings will win, but it's hard to say because
I just think it's Jaren's fully healthy now, and has really gotten back on the grass and really worked through his continued development, and wanted him to kind of go about the week this week, kind of simulating as if he was going to potentially, as if he was playing, just, using it as a real tool for his development and growth, and he's done a nice job, and just want to kind of go about it that way. Josh Dobbs will be ready to play like he has to help us go 3-2 over the last 5. I mean, he came into the game with way less work than he had this week against Atlanta, and led us to a victory. So tons of confidence in all 3 guys. I know our entire offensive group feels that way, and we feel fortunate, having lost Kirk, to have that kind of depth that we do in that room.
How will you kind of work the running back rotation without Alexander?
Yeah, Ty has been trending, towards getting more carries. He'll be the lead back for sure. Excited to see Kene get some opportunities, and then we'll make a determination based upon whether we're going to elevate, but CJ Ham's clearly played a big role for us all year long. Situational downs, had a good carry last week as well. I've got all the confidence that we could move the ball significantly with CJ in there as well. That's what makes him so valuable to us.
There wound up being an addition right during roster reductions and everything. He's played both sides.
Huge. I mean, his impact, thinking to when he's played, the production of us being able to function as an offense with such a veteran presence in there. His mental makeup is great. He's a strong length, all the things you want in a tackle. But considering that we came into the year with Ole and feeling like with that group that we had some real depth, and then for Kwesi and his guys to find somebody like Quest that we've had to rely on quite a bit in multiple O-line group combinations throughout the year. I love everything about him, the way he steps in there. There's never any flinch. He's got more juice than anybody on the sideline, in the huddle. And I think he makes us better, having a guy like that can step in those critical moments.
We'll be live streaming the game, y'all, on Saturday. As I mentioned, it's an 11 o'clock start my time.
After spending his whole
That's
career
10 o'clock on the West Coast.
It's probably a great point that I don't know if it's been talked about enough. Just his ability, no matter who's in the game, snap counts. I know it's been documented, us working through snap counts on the sideline down in Atlanta. But that all comes from the poise and the composure of your center, being able to handle that different voice, that different kind of me to you factor, and still execute. It's definitely been something that maybe I even took for granted, knowing Kirk and him and all the time on task they had together. But I credit Garrett and our quarterbacks for being able to do what they've done.
How was that distribution, I guess, of deciding on checks and calls and things like that when it comes to protection, like versus the center versus the quarterback making those calls?
Yeah, I think the quarterback can see everything. It's hard with the center to be able to truly have a full scope of what the entire picture is, and sometimes the good NFL defenses in this league, if you just use one or even two bits of information that you have, they're designed to make you assume that either you're good to go on a play or your protection's sound, when really the quarterback has a little bit more feel of all 11 and what that means for a potential audible check. So it really truly is kind of a workman relationship there, where it's, a lot of times it's confirming both, because then you have ownership.
Skip through some of this.
They're all real problems. Their depth at the tight end position. And I think Jake Browning and his comfort of, kind of being Joe's right-hand man, you're seeing their offense as if Joe was in there. And then maybe some things that Jake feels more comfortable with, but it still feels like an incredibly high-powered offense, and I think it's a credit to Jake and obviously their coaching staff and players.
And while he is older, he's like 27 years old.
Thanks, guys.
He will not be an easy out for the Vikings. All right, so let's stop that. Hit the escape. Pause it. Vikings trying to get some Pro Bowl votes for some of their players as well. And that took us all the way through. This is Wednesday's injury report. I told you that that has changed since, but the injury report as of Wednesday was Ed Ingram was a full participant, Justin Jefferson limited, Madison, Naylor, O'Neal, and Chris Reed did not practice, and Dalton Reisner was limited as well. So that was yesterday's injury report. Now here's Mullins on getting the starting gig.
Sounds excited that you're playing.
Yeah, they are actually. They're very excited.
Jacob?
Bless my wife. She's like, I don't want to fly with
people.
Two little boys. But then I asked a 4-year-old, like, do you want to go? He's like, yeah, I want to go. So I'm like, all right, yeah, he wants to go. Let him go. So she's going to have to fly with him. And should be a fun experience.
Vikings game against the Raiders on YouTube.
4 and 2.5.
Vikings losses were on KOC.
The little one's not going. The little one will not be there.
The older one was probably too young for the Cleveland start.
Yes, he was, yeah.
Sounds excited that.
All right, so that's the end of that. Here was Justin Jefferson after his injury the other day.
Yeah.
So let's refresh this.
Are you watching the game on your phone in the ambulance?
Yes. Yes.
And on your phone in the emergency
Yeah,
room
yeah.
waiting for x-rays?
Yes. I was yelling, I was screaming. The people that was really, hurt, they probably was annoyed by me.
You returned from the emergency room.
Well, that was the first time I was in the ambulance in the ER, so it was definitely an experience for me that I don't want again.
Are you really watching the game on your phone in the ambulance?
Yes. Yes.
That's that. Now let's get into some of the numbers, y'all. Let's get into some of the numbers here. Again, this is a preview show for Vikings Bengals. This game, as I mentioned, is on Saturday as it was flexed into that spot. But the Vikings travel to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. Here's what ESPN is showing in reference to this game, and we'll talk about lines, locations, all that good stuff. So game odds, according to ESPN Bets, has the Vikings at +3, so the Bengals are the favorite. The Bengals are the favorite in this game with an over-under of 40.5. Vikings are +145 currently on a money line bet. Bengals -170. Matchup predictor, according to ESPN.com, gives the Bengals a 56.6% chance of victory in this contest. The Vikings 43.1. It will take place at Paycor Stadium, Cincinnati, Ohio. They're expecting game time weather to be 40 degrees and cloudy. This stadium holds 65,515. Here's another look at an injury report as of today per ESPN. O'Neal, Naylor, and Madison out of the contest. Jefferson and Reed questionable for the Bengals. Sample, Harmon, and Bache, the linebacker, are all questionable as well. The last 5 contests for these teams, the Vikings 3-2 on the season. Them 2 losses against Chicago and Denver have them where they are right now, trying to hold on to that playoff spot. They did defeat the Raiders last week 3-0 in what might have been the most boring game in the history of the NFL. Bengals in their last 5 are 2-3, but they've won their last 2. Victories against Jacksonville and Indianapolis have propelled them to a 7-6 record, and they are currently in a playoff spot trying to hold on. All right, let's take a look at kind of the overall stats of this game. As I mentioned, Vikings are 7-6, second in the NFC North. Bengals, 4th in the AFC North, 7-6. The game will take place, as I've mentioned a number of times, on Saturday, December 16th at 11 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. That's my time. Again, 10 o'clock West Coast, 1 o'clock East Coast. All right, here are the current team leaders for both these teams. Burrow and Cousins still are the team leaders in passing yards. Of course, both injured, both out for the rest of the year. So those numbers don't mean a lot right now. Rushing yards, Madison, who I've mentioned is out of this contest, but the Vikings will be sending out a new running back group there, Chandler and Nwangu and I forget Myles Gaskin. And they'll be taking on Joe Mixon, right? Joe Mixon currently 768 yards on the ground for the Bengals. The receiving yards leaders for these two teams, T.J. Hawkinson, with all the injuries to wideouts for the Vikes, Hawkinson is the leading receiver with 839. And of course, for the Bengals, Jamar Chase, 1,092 on the season here in Week 15. Field goal leaders, Greg Joseph, 19 for the Vikings. McPherson, 21 for the Bengals. Your tackle leaders, Bynum for the Vikes, Wilson for the Bengals. Sack leaders, you've got Daniil Hunter for the Vikings and T. Hendrickson for the Bengals, both with 13.5 sacks on the season. Murphy and Taylor are the leaders with interceptions and forced fumbles. Hunter forced 4, and Wilson is forced, as you see there, 3. Team stats rolling on the right side of your screen. Chat got really quiet. We still got 17 in the house, though. But here's the team stats. The Vikings averaged 262 yards a game to the Bengals 248. Rushing yards a game, the Vikings averaged 95.2 The Bengals 84.7, kind of surprising. I thought that would be higher for them, as Mixon is usually a dependable running back. Points per game, the Vikings average 20.5, the Bengals 21.5. Points allowed, 18.6 for the Vikings, 22.1 for the Bengals. Both teams are about even in touchdowns scored, with the Vikings having 30 and the Bengals 31. Scoring efficiency, they both operate at a 35% clip. Third down efficiency, 40% for the Vikes, 36% for the Bengals. Both teams have had 4 300-yard passing games. The 100-yard receiving games are 7-5 in favor of the Bengals. Of course, that has a lot to do with Chase being on their team and Jefferson being out for a number of weeks on ours. Takeaways, 21-19 in favor of the Bengals. Interceptions, 13-10. And sacks, 35-36. So a very, very close statistical matchup here. Very, very close. The last game between these two teams, was 9/12 of 2021, with the Vikings losing 24-27 at Cincy. Bengals were the home team. We've talked about these injuries and what the injury report looks like this week. So we'll move on from there. And this is kind of it. This is kind of the format and what these game preview streams will look like. My prediction for this contest, y'all, is pain. No. My prediction for this game, y'all, is it's going to be a close game. It'll be decided by a field goal or less. And unfortunately, I think this is the time of the year that the Vikings are going to run out of steam trying to come back from this Kirk Cousins injury and the long absence of Jefferson. And I think the Bengals will come away with a victory in this one, 27-24 is my prediction. Sorry, Vikings fans, it's how it is. Patriot Roy D checks in. What's up, Patriot Roy D? Viking Jerome in the house. Oh, Laker girl says Viking Jerome. All right, so this is the new format, y'all, on the SKOL Report. I hope to do these videos every week in anticipation of we're coming down the home stretch of the NFL season. Will the Vikings make the show? I guess we'll find out, and I hope I'm wrong on my prediction. But I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us today here on the channel. If you are new to us or you're watching this in replay, please hit that subscribe button. Give the video a like. And turn on those bell notifications so you know when Valhalla Sports Talk and the SKOL Report go online. I'll be on later today for Lakers versus Spurs action. That'll take place at 5:30 my time. So you got to figure it out. Go 1 hour less for the West Coast, so 4:30 in California. And for you East Coasters, that means it'll be at 7:30 on the East Coast. But Lakers action on the channel tonight, a full watch party stream, and hope to see you all there for that. Next Viking telecast, as I mentioned, will be Saturday. Saturday. So I hope to see you all there. Hope you like the new digs. I think it looks pretty snazzy. I really like our little Viking guy there with the shield, but we hope to see you in the next one. Until then, y'all, Valhalla Sports Talk thanks you for joining us, and we hope to see you in the next video.